All right, so we are back here for part number two of this week's edition of the Weekly Crossbar. Ellis Joshua and Coach Wink coming at you. So, Coach Wink, we're just continuing with our conversation that we were having in part one, talking about the Shoreham Harborfields game, our game of the week from this week, and just continuing to kind of run through some of the players that really stepped up for Shoreham. We didn't even mention Reese Marcario. We did mention that she had the assist that led to the game winner, but she had 1 goal and 3 assists in that game. We mentioned Maddie Hirsch. She had 4 assists. Annabelle Keegan and Grace Kitchen each had a hat trick in that game for Shoreham. So definitely stepped up with some big plays for the Wildcats. Keegan actually had the game tying goal in that game with about 90 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. I think Shoreham's offense is scary good. I think they share the ball better than any team I've seen all year. And I'm not saying they have the best offense. I'm saying that they have 7 kids that share the ball. Not one of their kids is selfish. Every one of their kids looks for the open player. I mean, because it's funny, Maddie Hurd has the ability to basically dodge by anybody because she's so fast.
Yeah, she can blow by people if she really wanted to.
Yeah, but she's picking apart the defense. Same thing with Macario from behind the goal.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then the Keegan sisters are awesome.
Yep.
Kitchen and Herb. I mean, obviously, so you're looking at the two Keegans, Kitchen and Herb, Macario and her and Maddie, Maeve Bourguignon, who is
Yep.
phenomenal at the draw circle.
Yeah. That's what started to turn the tide.
Yeah, her and Maddie her.
Yep.
Bourguignon and her. I think they won like 3 or 4 draws in a row, and that's how they got the
Yeah.
tie. And
Yeah.
then
That's what got him back in it.
and then the defensive stop by Jablonski. And G and Greco played very good in the goal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I mean that was a great team effort. I mean, I I'm going to tell you that the Suffolk C playoffs, every game will be a war.
Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely second that. And of course, you're going to have, like, once we know the matchups and everything, like, you'll have teams, of course, that would be favored to win over the other. But I think that's the one bracket where I think you can look at it and you can say, like, okay, this team will be favored over this team, but I wouldn't be absolutely floored if they were to lose to the lower seed.
They're taking what, 7?
I think it's 6 this year.
I
Last year
mean,
was 7.
really. So I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna look at something right now while we're on this call. I'm gonna check something out.
Do you need are you looking to share? If you are, just let me know.
1 minute left.
Wow, Mercy Malloy, 12-12 with a minute to go. Corey's watching it on his phone.
Ooh,
Just to share it out there. That's
get your popcorn. Fasten your seatbelts.
Ellis is a Mercy alumni, but one of his buddies is the
Yeah,
goalie for Malloy.
yeah.
Who is Ellis rooting for? DM us if you know what's in Ellis's heart, his alumni or his friendship. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I think we have to ask the audience.
I think I'm just gonna keep it to myself. I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
You're talking from both sides?
Well, I know where my allegiance is lying in this moment, but
Okay, that's fair. All right, so I'm going to give you the C's right now. Bayport, Sayville, West Hampton, Rocky Point, Shoreham, Miller Place, Islip, Mount Sinai. That's 8. So right now, if the season ended today, of course it doesn't, and you said they're only taking 6?
yes, I believe this year it's 6.
Hold on, I'm going to the tournament. They have the brackets here. Let me confirm that, or I don't want to deny or confirm it yet. Sea Girls, they are taking 7, Ellis.
It is 7.
Yep, they're taking 7.
Huh, okay.
I'm looking at it now. May 22nd, Thursdays, the playing games to the semis. Okay, so let's go back to those numbers. What did I just mess up? Oh, here we go. And we will look at the standings. So I think I had Miller Place.
Miller Place, when you were going through, was your sixth team.
Oh, was it? Okay.
When you were listing off the teams.
Bayport, Sayville, West Hampton, Rocky Point, Shoreham, Miller Place, Islip. So right now, Kings Park is next and Mount Sinai is next. So Kings Park and Mount Sinai are looking from the outside in right now. Let me see if, let me click on Miller Place. I know they lost to Kings Park. Okay, so schedules. Yeah, so Miller Place, because obviously that has a lot to do with who they're playing now, right? We're looking at Miller Place. There we go. Girls, varsity. Miller Place's schedule left on their schedule, starting from 4/24 at Southampton. Oh, they play Rocky Point next week. They play Islip on 5/2, which is the same day that we got the Bayport game. They still play Smithtown West, John Glenn, Mattatuck, and Hampton Bays. So the Miller Place Islip and Miller Place Rocky Point game, those two
Those
games,
those are massive games.
massive. And let's look at, let me see, Kings Park. Oh, they don't click over, which is unfortunate. They should really be doing this on the LALJ, which is a better site for this, even though I was doing it on the section. Yeah, when you go to Suffolk.
Wanted to get the official number
Yeah, but I'm going to do it on our site because you can see, you can flip back and forth to the teams, which is what I'm going to do now. Kings Park. Yeah, here we go. So KP girls, they beat East Islip last night. They got West Bap Deer Park. See, so they got Rocky Point. So that's the big game for them. They got to beat Rocky Point to probably get in.
Mm-hmm.
So KP's got to beat Rocky Point, which will be tough because Rocky Point just beat Shoreham by a goal last night.
Right.
And let's find, they don't play Shoreham, so that doesn't help them.
OT.
OT? Malloy, Mercy going to OT.
Oh boy.
Let's pray for Christian. Let's pray for Christian. And then let me find Mount Sinai. Let's see who Mount Sinai has to beat to get in. Mount Sinai looking from the outside in. They still got Shoreham, Islip, Sayville, and Bayport. So playing them, I think, lifts their RPI. So
yeah, those are games where you can do a lot of heavy lifting.
So Mount Sinai is probably going to need to Shoreham and Islip win. They're going to have to win those two to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hurts, obviously, Shoreham and Islip. So very interesting because you could, if you look at it this way, you're looking at KP and Mount Sinai as of today not getting in. Those are two good teams.
Right.
And it could be two other teams that don't get in. So Suffolk Seas, baby. Like we'll call it the SEC of high school girls lacrosse. Like SEC is in football and college football. But very, very interesting. So where were we?
So we were recapping the Shoreham Harborfields game, and then I think we can go on to April 23rd now, also in Suffolk County. That was another doozy. Huntington Blue Devils and the Commack Cougars on the girl side.
That was for the one seed because obviously
Yeah, could be because we were going through that earlier before we started the podcast. And right now, Northport at this moment is still at the top, correct?
yeah, Northport is because of who they played and everything, but
Right.
it'll work its way out.
Right.
If Huntington runs the table, they'll be the one seed.
Right. Yeah, and going into that game, Commack was undefeated. Huntington had just the one loss, which was a non-league game against Cold Spring Harbor, but they were undefeated in their league play. And the Huntington Blue Devils, they took down undefeated Commack. 9-7 was your final score. And that was a heck of a game. And I know I was talking to some of the Huntington girls, even going back before we covered this game, and they were letting me know about some of their big games that they had upcoming. Northport, Ward Melville, they won those two games, both by a goal. Then they have another challenge in Commack, and they come away with the win. And what a game for the Huntington Blue Devils. That's a statement win right there.
That
Beating
was, I
beating
agree with you, Al. It was a statement win. I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were so fired up after that game, as they should have been. And we were talking about this, I think it was the next day when we were just kind of talking about that game and talking about Huntington. It just seems like they're just all collectively bought in. Like it just seems like they are all on the same page, firing on all cylinders. The goal, it remains the same for everybody. And you can see it on the field. It definitely translates on the field with the way that they play. So I think we definitely have to shout out Coach Katie Riley for what she's doing with the Huntington program this year, because that team can make some serious noise in the playoffs. That team could be in the county final playing for a county championship.
Yeah, listen, I mean, they've worked very hard. Katie's been there. I think this is Katie's third year there, and you could tell every year she has them playing in the Winter League. She has them playing together. She has the young guns playing with them. She's building a really good culture in Huntington, and you can see by the way the cohesiveness of the team and how the kids are getting along and how they're sharing the ball when they clear it, as well as offense and defense. They have two real good goaltenders. They're playing the young gun Juliet Johnson, but obviously Andy, the 27 is very good. So at the end of the day, they got a well-rounded team. I thought Ava McDonald defensively played really well.
Yes,
Um,
clearing
how
the
do you
ball.
pronounce the Palacios? Am I pronouncing that name right?
Palacios, yeah.
I thought she played really well. Leighton Evans, I mean, defensively they played well, but
Cameron
offensively is where their firepower is. Grace Gordon, Sabrina Boyle, Weinschreider.
Weinschreider, yeah.
Weinschreider had a move
Devin
in
St.
front of
John.
us. It was like, you know what I'm talking about? That move that she had?
Um,
When I mixed up the numbers and I said,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mixed up the numbers and I'm like,
Yeah.
who is that kid? I didn't even know it
Yeah.
was Jolie. And I was like,
Yes. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a sick move.
Yeah. Yeah. I think yeah, I think you mixed up the numbers there. Or the sun was in your eyes. One or the
Well,
other.
probably both. But one,
Probably.
I did have one comment after the game that the schools have to start to think about. I think Comac's uniforms are much better to help the kids in film and in recruiting because their numbers are bigger. And
Okay.
one of the things I've noticed from running our league that these schools have to realize as educators, your goal is to help these kids, educate them to get them into college, right? Your job is not just to educate them in the classroom, but to help them on the athletic field because both of those components help the kids find whatever college they're going to end up matriculating to.
Yep.
The jersey number on Huntington was like a six font compared to Comac, which was like a 28 font. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
And that's important because they're going to use this film. I mean, dude, how many of those kids, like Ava McDonald, who's a big time defender in the 27 class, number 21,
Yeah.
right?
We want people to know who she is.
Yeah, get that number bigger, man. That girl cleared. She's an instant clear in the game.
She was a clearing machine.
Yeah, she was running up that field. Looked like she was shot out of a cannon a few times, which was awesome. Good to see. Good to see these girls stepping up. Congratulations to the Blue Devils. Comac is still well in the mix. So is
Oh, of
Northport.
course.
So is Melville. Ward Melville. That's and obviously a couple teams looking up from the outside in could make noise. Connecticut, Floyd, and Longwood. All three of those programs. I could see them knocking off one of those teams. They got to come together a little bit more and get some. But those three teams are excellent A team too. You got seven real good A teams this year. It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's probably the first time I've said that since we've been doing this.
Yeah, and I think because the last few years, like we've kind of seen who the final four teams are going to be. Like you haven't really had any surprises, but I think the last like couple years, it's kind of been like Northport at the top and Ward Melville right there, or vice versa. But I think this year it's definitely anyone's to get in terms of coming away with the county championship. I think this is as This is as wide open as it's been, I think, in quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to Carol at Northport today, and she realizes that it's anybody's game, and that they're going to all have to play real well in the playoffs for one of the teams to come out as a Suffolk County champ. But it's going to be very interesting and fun to watch. That was our Wednesday game. Yesterday we got to see. I call it the God game. That's just me, you know, and went over to Wolf Hill Road, where the national powers, Chaminade and St. Anthony's, are 1 and 2. St. Anthony's was 1, Chaminade was 2 on
Yeah,
our.
there will be a passing of the torch in the next batch of the LILJ rankings.
Yeah, I'm very curious, very curious. That was
And
a hell of a game.
more Mr. Sausage coming out of my pocket. These one
uh,
games, man, these
but
one goal games.
it's all good and involved. I mean, to be fair, St. Anthony's, Robbie Johnson, I gather he's injured. He's their stud face-off kid, 26, going to Penn State. Quinn Ball had his day. I think he lost one face-off the whole day. And I mean, it was an 11-10 game, so the 25 face-offs. I think he went 24 out of 25.
We should have the huddle coming in soon, if it's not in already.
Yeah, I didn't get you. Did you get the huddle from Chaminade?
No, I don't, but I know we do. I don't get it directly.
Well, I was running the numbers. I think he was like at 96%. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, and think about it. It still came down to a potential game tying goal.
They lost. Mercy lost by a goal. Sugar. Oh, I'm bummed.
I'm gonna say stoic because you don't need to know who I was rooting for.
You guys recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Yeah, we're recording. We're recording and we're talking about the Mercy Malloy game. For those of you who are big fans, I'm a big Malloy fan. I do like some kids on the Mercy team. I do love Chris Bergerson from Farmingdale, who's a great kid. But Christian Michaels is my boy, and he's the goaltender for Malloy. So I'm just gonna have a moment of silence for Malloy, and we'll move on. You want to talk about St. Anthony Shaman? I'm a little despondent right now.
All right, so anyway, continuing on with St. A Chaminade. This was this was the first time since 2021 that Chaminade has beaten St. Anthony's. It had been 8 straight wins for the Friars up until yesterday's game. Isn't that something, considering I mean, how competitive, how typically evenly matched these two teams can be? St. Anthony's, they've really had the upper hand these last 4 years, up until yesterday.
I kind of like to live in the present and the future than in the past, but yes, that's good. In reality, these two teams have been very evenly matched. I mean, there's been a couple of, I wouldn't say lopsided, but dominant efforts from. I thought Louis D'Agostino, and him and Quinn Ball were my players of the game. Forget that I thought Gillis and Balsamo played great offensively, but D'Agostino was covering Gary Merrill, and he absolutely took Gary Merrill out of the game.
Yeah,
Gary had 2 assists, I believe.
yeah, he had he had 1 goal and 2 assists.
Which that's nothing for Gary.
Yeah, for him,
Gary's one of the best players in the country.
yeah, that's a quiet day for him for sure.
Yeah, and D'Agostino was the reason.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like at the end though, I'm not sure what happened there because St. Anthony's had a chance. They had
Yeah,
multiple chances actually.
yeah, and to be fair, I was wondering what happened. Like D'Agostino wasn't on Gary on the last play. He shot it wide, Gary, but they got the ball back. I mean, they got 3 shots on goal. Dude, I didn't realize Kieran Walsh was like he looks like Liam Enterman.
Dude, I didn't realize how tall he was.
He must have grown a lot since the last time we saw him, no?
Yeah, I mean, also too, it's all about perspective. Look at us.
That's true. Everybody's tall to us. That's true. But he does look like Liam Enterman. He wears the same number. He's a Chaminade kid, and he's a stud goalie going to Notre Dame. What more can we say?
Yeah.
Right?
Car-
Dude,
car-
the Gillis kid and Balsamo kid are the real deal.
Yeah, they looked uncoverable yesterday.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Balsamo played the best game I've ever seen him play. And the kid Gillis I mean, there's a reason why they're going to Virginia and Duke.
Yeah, 100%. And
But defensively, I thought Chaminade's defense played great. I
well,
thought,
they never trailed in the game. They never trailed. It
yeah,
was tied a couple times, but they were never down throughout the whole game.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm very curious because I was listening to some of the Chaminade fans when they were leaving, and if they win the next game, they don't play a third game. So
Right.
that
They
next game's
started
a big one.
right. They started doing that. I think this is year three that they're doing that because in the past they always played the three games, but now the winner of whoever wins that second game, if they won the first game too, then that's it.
Well,
So it's basically
I think that game's on either May 15th or May 16th.
that game is May 15th
Gotcha.
at Chaminade.
At Chaminade, at the Nod. Okay, we'll put a little asterisk, and put a little asterisk on it. We'll see what happens. But great effort by the boys. Um, I thought St. Anthony's had their chances to tie it. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt they had chances, but Kieran Walsh, he came up huge. I mean, I thought he was great pretty much the whole game, but in the biggest spot, when St. Anthony's had multiple shot opportunities, he kept them off the board.
Yes, he did. And you want to talk about we're heading to a great game today, and we'll talk about it next week. But we're heading. I have not seen either of these teams play. You've seen one of them. Have you seen both of them play?
I've seen both. Yep.
Pequa Port boys.
Oh yeah.
Right now, that's for the one seed in the Class A Nassau County playoffs.
Yeah, those are your top two right now. So this is a big game over at Massapequa High School this evening at 5 o'clock. So this game, the winner of this game, it could go a long way when it comes to the playoffs. But I know we've talked about it, Coach Wink. I've talked about Massapequa, seeing them a couple times this season. Saw Port Washington at the very beginning of the season, their first game against Islip, but we've been very impressed, I would say, with the way Port Washington has played this season, having a new coach, Coach Labby taking over this year. And I think he's done a really, really good job with this Port Washington team. And
Every game they're dominating. I mean,
yeah,
they lost one game. Who's their only loss is Wantor, right?
right. They lost to Wantagh about a week
Which
or so ago.
which to be fair means that Pequa should be the slight favorite because Pequa beat Wantor, right?
They did. What's the what does the home team get in a spread like this? You know, in the NFL, home team.
Yeah, the home team gets three points in the spread.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a goal to a half a goal,
Okay, that's
but I'm
fair.
going to say Massapequa one and a half today if we were putting a spread on it.
Okay.
What are you feeling? Who you going with today?
I got I look, I still got a couple hours to mull it over. I'm not so sure because I've seen Massapequa more recently than I've seen Port Washington. And Port Washington, they look good when I saw them against Islip, but I'm sure they're even better now considering we're basically a month into the season. So,
I'm looking forward to watching both those teams play. I get excited to see teams I haven't seen that are having good, successful years. And then tomorrow is to me, is the mecca of high school girls lacrosse for us. The only thing I would put in the same ball game is the state championships if four Long Island teams are playing in the state finals.
right, but that's an if. So this is as good as it gets right here. I think also too the Long Island Championships. Those are
Those are awesome too. You're right.
yeah,
There's 8 Long Island teams battling out both on the boys and girls side. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a real fun day too. That's a good point. And
yeah,
I like the way they used to do it, where the boys were one day and the girls were the next day. They don't do that anymore. But it's unfortunate that they're not working together to try to make it easier on Ellis and Wink.
yeah. I'm still working on cloning myself. That's,
Yeah, that's
that's
yeah. The only person maybe Willie Randolph. We'll get Willie Randolph to do a few games. So let's talk a little bit about the Gains for Brains matchups real quick.
yeah. What a day that'll be tomorrow over at Cold Spring Harbor High School. 10 games on the day between the upper and lower turf fields. So you'll have Long Island teams taking on non-Long Island teams all day long, and a new game will start every hour. So the first game is going to start at 10 a.m. Last game will start at 7 p.m. But I guess we can just kind of run through the games that are taking place and the start times of these games. So starting off at 10 a.m., you're going to have Syosset taking on Nyack.
So that changed, just so you know.
Did it?
It's now Wantor
Oh, okay.
against Syosset. And just so you
Really?
know, and then Syosset is playing the 6 o'clock game against IHA.
Oh, okay.
We just made the change.
Okay, let me fix that. I apologize.
That's quite all right. They changed that recently. Just so you know, Nyack is ranked 8th in the nation.
That's big time.
So you want to talk about nationally ranked teams playing in Cold Spring Harbor. If I had a little, if my granddaughter's around, I'd send them over there. But if I had a 3rd through 7th or 8th grader and they weren't doing anything tomorrow, I'd have them at Cold Spring Harbor watching the talent pool that's going to be flowing through Bouchard, Lessing, Seahawk Field, and Amon Upper Field. Jimmy Amon, named after the famous athletic director from Cold Spring. So you got Wanton Nyack on the upper field. That's the 10
Yep.
a.m. game.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
The 11 o'clock game is a game that it's like a can't miss game. Like if you could see any game, this is the game you want.
That's a spicy matchup right there. We're talking about Sayville and Darien.
Yeah, both ranked in the top 20 in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Then you got West Islip, Morristown. West Islip just beat Smithtown West in a doozy,
Yeah.
6-5 yesterday.
In
You got
OT,
the you got
Nicolosi.
the Oblage clan. Probably the you go back in the old days, it was the Turries at West Islip on the boys' side and the Galassos, and now it's the Oblage family on boys and girls' side. They got both. Morristown, which was a state champ in New Jersey last year.
Right, we
Then the
saw them.
1 o'clock game got the U.S. ranked number 1 against a Chatham state finalist, Jersey state finalist. So Anthony's Chatham, 2 o'clock. Pico went where? They lost in the state semis last year.
Yeah, lost in the state semis by a goal to
They,
Fairport.
they play Owen J. Roberts from Pennsylvania. Don't have much on Owen J. Roberts. I'm sure Coach Gaggins watching some film on those girls. Then you got the number 1 recruit in the country from Mount Sinai, Alexis Spallina, playing against Suffering, the girl we mentioned earlier,
Yep.
Michaela Fay from Maryland. That should be a doozy. That game should be out. I definitely. Then you got Becky Thorne's defensive ESM Sharks going up against Ridgefield, 2 UNC commits, seniors, Grace Winkler and Lauretano, Gabby Lauretano. Lauretani, I think I'm mispronouncing. Sorry, Gab. They're Ridgefield girls. The 5 o'clock, you got the GC Lady Trojans against the New Canaan Rams. Crazy. 6 o'clock, Syosset against IHA of Jersey. And then the final game is the Cold Spring Harbor Seahawks
The hosts.
against Summit. What a day.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome day. And we'll have coverage all day long on the LILJ Instagram stories of all the games. So it's going to be a lot of lacrosse, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you and I, Coach Wink, we always look forward to covering the Gains for Brains event at Cold Spring Harbor.
Yeah, it's for a great cause. So if you could go on, Google it, and you could afford it, donate $5, $100, whatever it might be. It's definitely a good cause, and they raise money for brain cancer, and you should definitely donate whatever you could afford because Andy Rappaport from News 12 does an amazing job, and it's a great cause, wonderful thing. Ellis, before we go, I just want to pay my respects from the LALJ family to Kayla Gilmore and her family because they're going through a tough time. And Kayla just lost her mom this week, an amazing woman who's a teacher in the Shoreham Wading River District. And we send our heartfelt condolences to Kayla and her dad and her brothers and her family, and we just hope we hope Kayla's doing okay and that she can get through this tough time because it's very very hard on her, and we think the world of her, and anything we can do, the lacrosse community can do to support the Gilmore family. We're all here for her and whatever she might need, and we wish her nothing but the best.
Yeah, very well said, Coach Wink. I completely echo those sentiments. We wish our deepest condolences to Kayla Gilmore and her family. And I believe there's a link going around for a GoFundMe page. So when we're off the podcast, I'll see if I can get that together and then also share on the LI Lax Journal Instagram platform as well for anyone that can donate.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, we leave you today, and we'll see you next week. And we appreciate everybody coming on. We'll let Ellis say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for everyone that tuned in to this week's episode of the Weekly Crossbar. We'll be back at it next week for another episode. Thanks for tuning in.